Hey everyone, Amanda here. Before we dive in, I want you to do something for me. I want you to read this sentence out loud right now. The implementation of strategic methodologies necessitates a comprehensive evaluation of multifaceted operational parameters to optimize sustainable growth trajectories. Did that sound natural coming out of your mouth or even mine? Probably not. You probably stumbled over a few words, right? Okay, now read this. Look, if you want your business to grow, you need to figure out what's actually working and what's not. It's that simple. So, which one sounded more like a real human talking? The second one, obviously. And here's the thing, this is the difference between a $2,000 copywriter and a $20,000 copywriter. It's not talent, it's not experience, it's this one skill that not too many people are talking about. It's the ability to make your copy sound like your client when they're talking. I've had clients tell me over and over again, Amanda, when I read your scripts, it sounds like me. And that's not by accident. That's a skill I've developed over 6 years of writing copy. So today, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this. By the end of this training, you'll know how to write copy that doesn't just convey your client's message, it channels their actual voice. So grab a notebook because we're going really deep on this. Hopefully, I won't lose you. Stay with me. All right. So let's start with the biggest mistake I see copywriters making. They write copy like they're writing a book or creating literature, um, which is normal because that's when you first encounter a copy, right? But here's the thing, there's a massive difference between writing something that's meant to be read silently versus writing something that's meant to be spoken out loud. Literature and books are designed for silent reading in your head, perfect grammar and sentence structure, complex vocabulary and ideas, informal tone and flow. Scripts and conversational copy are designed for speaking out loud, natural speech patterns, clear, simple communication, and authentic human connection. And here is why this matters. The majority of the copy I write is for scripts. My clients are reading this shit off teleprompters. They're recording videos, like this one, even. They're doing sales calls. If it doesn't sound natural when they speak, it's gonna be useless. So I have what I call the teleprompter test. Every piece of copy I write, I read out loud. If I stumble over it, or if it sounds awkward, if it doesn't flow naturally, I rewrite it. Let me give you another example. Here's how someone might write an email in literature style. I hope this correspondence finds you well. I am writing to inform you of an exceptional opportunity that has recently become available and may be of significant interest to your organization. Nobody talks like that. So here's the same message in conversational copy. Hey there, I've got something pretty cool and I think you might be interested in it. Mind if I share it with you? See the difference? The second one passes the teleprompter test. It sounds like a real human talking and having a conversation. Now, if you're worried about it being too casual, obviously use your judgment, but always keep in mind that people buy from people. They don't buy from corporations or fancy vocabulary words. Last thing you want to do is make your buyer feel stupid. They buy from humans they connect with. When your copy sounds conversational, it builds trust, it builds connection, and connection converts. So from now on, every piece of copy you write, I want you to read it out loud. If it doesn't sound like something you'd actually say to someone, say to a friend, you are going to need to rewrite that. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to share with you my secret weapon. This is what separates me from every other copywriter out there. I'm giving you the sauce. And I call it the interview method. Not super fancy, but here's what most copywriters do. They'll jump on a call with a client, they'll ask a few basic questions, maybe they'll look at their website, and then they go write copy based on their own voice, their own style. That's absolutely backwards. Here's what I do. I record every single client conversation with their permission, obviously. And then I use that recording to write copy that sounds exactly like them. So here's how it goes. I record the conversation, right? I use Otter to transcribe that conversation in real time. I then take that transcript and I paste it into ChatGPT and I ask it to identify their natural speech patterns and keywords. And then I write their copy, literally using their exact phrases, words, and rhythm. It works insanely well, and my clients are usually blown away. And it works because I'm not making it up. It's literally using their words. Crazy, right? Um, Now, here is what you need to listen for when you are doing these interviews. And this is where my like music background and piano and drums and guitar really comes in handy because I'm listening for rhythm and cadence like I would in a song. So for you, what I want you to do is to listen for is tonality patterns. Do they end sentences with authority, that downward tone that communicates confidence? Or do they end with uncertainty, that uptone that sounds like they're asking a question? Where do they emphasize words? Is it beginning, middle, end? Also, what is their natural pace? So let's talk about how to identify tonality. Play back those recordings and actually note where their voice rises and falls. Mark which words they stress in the transcripts. You could also time their speaking pace, as in literally count words per minute when they're talking about something they're passionate about. All right, cadence. Some people speak in short, punchy sentences. Others flow in long, connected thoughts. Some use a lot of natural pauses and breaks. So, in order to map the rhythm, count sentence length in their natural speech. Know where they pause and mark those with ellipses in your transcript and identify their signature phrases that they repeat over and over. You can use ChatGPT to do all of this for you, by the way. Just put what I said into ChatGPT and ask it to do it. All right, vocabulary and phrases. What jargon do they use? What do they avoid? And how formal or casual is their language? And finally, to catalog their language, I create a word bank document for every single client. I note phrases they use repeatedly and I track their formality level on a scale of 1 to 10. I know it sounds like a lot, but it is so worth it. So here is where the music connection piece comes in. Every person has a natural beat to their communication. Some people speak in what I call staccato, which is short and sharp. Others flow like legato, which means smooth and connected. You need to match their musical rhythm in your writing. In order to help you get there, you need to ask some interview questions that will really reveal their voice. I don't ask boring shit like, what's your target audience? Because that's going to give me a boring answer. Instead, I ask questions like, tell me about your worst client experience. What gets you most excited about your business? How would you explain what you do to your grandma? What pisses you off most about your industry? Emotional topics reveal authentic voice way faster than logical discussions. Save those for your onboarding form. So, your homework after this call is to record your next client conversation. Just 5 minutes of them talking passionately about their business. Transcribe it and then try to write a 100-word email using only their phrases and rhythm from that transcript. You're going to be absolutely shocked at how different it sounds from your own voice in writing. All right, let's talk about grammar rules you're going to need to break. Yep, I said that. Your high school English teacher is going to hate me for this, but conversational copy requires you to break some traditional grammar rules. But, and this is really freaking important, you need to know which rules you can break and which ones will make you look like you don't know what you're talking about, that you're a bad writer. So, here are 6 rules you can break. right? Number one is sentence fragments. In literature, this sounds like, although it may seem counterintuitive, this approach works. In scripting, sounds crazy, right? But it works. If you want to break this rule like a pro, you're going to use sentence fragments for emphasis after longer explanations. End sections with punchy fragments for impact and or to match your client's natural speech breaks. For example, the one thing that separates successful entrepreneurs from everyone else, one thing, focus. See how that fragment hits harder than a complete sentence? Pretty cool, right? All right, number 2 rule I want you to break is starting sentences with conjunctions. I do this a lot. Your English teacher said never start with and, but, or so. Yeah, screw that. In conversational copy, these are gold and prolific. Some examples for you. And here's the thing. But wait, there's more. So what happened was, here's my conjunction functions guide. And adds information or emphasis, but introduces contrast or handles objections. So signals a conclusion or next step. Easy, right? Rule number 3 you're going to break is ending sentences with prepositions. In literature, this sounds like, this is something about which I am passionate. In scripts, this is something I'm passionate about. You break this rule if your correct version sounds awkward when spoken aloud. You need to keep the preposition, okay? You can figure this one out pretty quickly by reading both versions out loud and choosing the one that sounds more natural. Rule number 4 to break, run on sentences. If your client naturally speaks in long flowing sentences, mirror that shit. Use ellipses and dashes to show natural pauses. So how to handle run-on sentences. Break them with punctuation, just not periods. Use comma for breath pauses, em dashes for dramatic pauses, and ellipses for trailing thoughts. Rule number 5, contractions everywhere. Don't write do not, write don't. Don't write cannot, write can't. Don't write you are, write your. If you want to master contractions, replace all formal versions, create contractions even with names like John's instead of John is, and double check you haven't missed any along the way. Last but not least, rule number 6, incomplete thoughts. You know what I mean, right? Like, these mirror natural speech patterns. If you want to break this rule well, place them after complex ideas to check understanding, but use sparingly. Too many sound unprofessional, and match your client's actual speech patterns. Got it? Now, here are the rules you cannot break. Number 1 is basic subject-verb agreement. Still say he runs, not he run. Grammar errors distract from your message. Number 2 is consistent tense. So don't jump randomly between past, present, and future. Pick a tense and stick with it. Number 3, clear pronoun references. Make sure it, they, this clearly refer to something. Confusion always kills conversion. Number 4, logical flow. Even conversational copy needs to make sense, so don't you dare sacrifice clarity for sounding natural. All right, here's my conversational copy formula. Short plus long plus short equals rhythm. Mix sentence lengths like music. Short sentences create impact. Longer sentences will be used to provide explanation and flow. And then return to short for emphasis, like this. Listen to me. Most business owners are so busy putting out fires and dealing with the day-to-day chaos that they never step back to actually work on their business instead of just in their business. Sound familiar? See that rhythm? Short, long, short question. All right, how are we doing? Good? Good? I'm doing good. So, moving on to personality archetypes. We're going to talk about matching your client's personality in your copy. And we got to figure out what kind of archetype they are. So, I've identified 3 main archetypes, and each require different approaches. The first one is the straight shooter, authority downtone. They are my personal favorites. They're your alpha males, your no nonsense CEOs, your military guys. They speak with authority in very direct statements and make commands more than suggestions. So, David Goggins is a really great example of this. If you want to write for the straight shooters, start sentences with verbs, cut all unnecessary words, use periods, not question marks, and give clear, direct instructions. So don't write, maybe you might want to consider trying this approach if you think it could work for you or your situation. Instead, write, do this, it works. Next archetype is the friendly guide, conversational uptone. These are your coaches, your consultants, your nurturing entrepreneur types. They use a lot of inclusive language, lots of we and let's and together. An example of this is, what if we tried this approach instead? So, to write for these guys, you're going to want to use a lot of we instead of you language, ask rhetorical questions, offer options rather than commands, and include encouraging phrases. The third archetype is the passionate expert. They use a variable tone. These are your speakers, your course creators, your big personality brands. They have emotional highs and lows. They tell a lot of stories and they make bold claims backed by personal experience. Something they would say is, I've seen this destroy businesses, but I've also seen it create millionaires. All right, so how to write for these passionate experts. Make sure you vary your sentence length, like dramatically. Include personal stories and examples. Use emotional language and strong adjectives, and build to climactic moments in your copy, kind of like you see in movies. Now, how do you figure out which archetype your client is? You listen to them. You pay attention to their energy levels. So high energy clients need those shorter sentences, more punctuation and excitement. That makes sense, right? Calm, measured clients need longer sentences, more explanation, and a very steady and consistent pace. Analytical clients need logical connectors, numbered points, and a very clear structure. If you want to mirror their energy level, here's how you do that. So for the high energy clients, use exclamation points, but not excessively. Include action words and power verbs, write shorter paragraphs, and add urgency and momentum to everything. For calm, measured clients, write longer, flowing sentences, use transitional phrases between ideas, include thorough explanations, and maintain steady and even pacing. And for those analytical clients, number your points clearly, use because, therefore, as a result, provide logical progression of ideas, and include data points and specific examples. All right, let's bring this all together. So I want to give you a practical checklist you can use with every piece of copyright. So for your voice matching checklist, you're going to ask these questions. You ready? Does this pass the teleprompter test? Are you using their actual phrases from interviews? Does the rhythm match their speaking pace? Would their audience recognize this as them? And is it conversational but still clear? Your homework is to record your next client conversation, transcribe 5 minutes of them talking passionately about their business, write a 100-word email in their exact voice using that transcript, and read it aloud. Does it sound like them? Remember, AI can write a lot of this copy, but it can't capture someone's soul. This skill is what makes you irreplaceable. Great copy doesn't just convey information, it channels an entire personality. The goal isn't to write like a professional writer. The goal is to write like your client talks when they're being the best and most authentic self. When you master this, your clients won't just be happy with your copy or your work. They'll feel like you understand them better than they even understand themselves. And that's when they become clients for life. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below or hit me up on Instagram at Amanda Katarzi. Now go make your clients sound like themselves, not like a copywriter or a robot wrote for them. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Go fucking crush it. Bye.